Hello and welcome, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to have you with us. Now for years, Kärcher is the dominating force within the high pressure washer field. However, if you are the leading manufacturer within a certain industry, you tend to become lazy, you tend to ignore your customers' wishes, which is why there opens up space for new competitors. And this is why today we look at AVA of Norway, who started offering high pressure washers a few years ago. Now, because of the market leading position of Kärcher, this one could be one of the single most important and single most influential videos we ever did. We will try to compare the top of the line models, the AVA P80 and the Kärcher K7 Premium Full Control Plus, in order to find out if Kärcher still is the leading manufacturer of pressure washers or if the new kid on the block, AVA, does actually something better. So stay tuned, this one will definitely be interesting. As I said, today we compare the Kärcher K7 against the AVA P80. Now, once again, this video would not be possible without my good friend Andy. He's standing behind the camera and he gave us his K7 in order for us to be able to do this comparison video. We will look at different aspects of those high pressure washers. We will start with the technical specifications. Then we look at what you get when you buy them, what's included and what's not. Then, of course, we will use them in the field. We will have a closer look at all the nice details that these pressure washers come with. We will have a look at which accessories exist. And then in the end, we will do a summary in which we'll try to find out which one of those is actually the better pressure washer today. So for a start, we have to talk about where these two pressure washers stand within the lineup of pressure washers that the respective manufacturers have. The Kärcher K7 is the top of the line model. You have within the Kärcher lineup the K2, the K3, the K4, the K5 and then the K7. And then you have different versions within this lineup. When there is premium written on such a pressure washer by Kärcher, this refers to the hose reel that is back there. So a non-premium Kärcher does not have this reel, but we need that reel in order to compare it to the AVA because AVA comes standard with such a reel. Full Control and Full Control Plus stands for this new type of, I would say, let's call it pistol here, which you can control electronically here. And you can adjust the pressure that the water pumps out and you can adjust the liquid that the Kärcher sucks out of those bottles when you insert one in there. So this is what the Kärcher K7 Premium Full Control Plus, a long name, a complicated name, but that's what this one stands for. Within the AVA lineup, I would say it's similarly complicated. You have the Go line, which is very interesting for you mobile detailer guys out there because they are very light, they're very mobile, but have enough power. Power-wise, they are comparable to a Kärcher K3 or K4. Then you have the Smart series, which will probably be most interesting for most guys of you out there because it's comparable to a Kärcher K5 in regards to the power output. It's a bit lighter, it's a bit more compact than this one, and this is the Master series. These are the most powerful ones. This has a 4-cylinder compressor in there. The Smart series has a 3-cylinder compressor in there. So these are the most powerful ones. And then within every line of those pressure washers, the Go, the Smart and the Master series, you have 3 different ones in regards to how powerful they are. AVA also has a very funky, very spacey looking V6 series. These are the most powerful ones. These are definitely interesting for all you professionals out there. You can have a look at them. I will show you some pictures of it. But today we talk about the P80 Master. Within the Master series, you have the P60, P70 and P80. Then we talk about some of the technical specifications of those two pressure washers. With the Kärcher K7, you have 20 to 180 bar of pressure, or approximately 300 to 2600 psi. The AVA P80 produces slightly less pressure, which is 160 bar or 2300 psi. However, the AVA is able to pump out more water, which is 600 liters an hour, whereas the K7 is able to pump out 510 liters per hour. The Kärcher has 2200 watts of power, the AVA has 2800 watts of power. A short but important piece of information I didn't know when I shot this video, but I was made aware of during the editing of this video. An AVA P80 is an AVA P80 no matter where you live on the planet, which means that the AVA P80 always comes in the same specifications. However, that's not what Kärcher does, because Kärcher adapts its machines depending on the power grid in a specific country. You already saw that I had to make a distinction in the amount of water that the Kärcher K7 can pump out, because on the Swiss homepage Kärcher says that the K7 can pump 510 liters per hour. On the German homepage and many others on the planet, Kärcher says that the K7 can do 600 liters per hour, so it would be much closer to that one. And it's the same story with the power output, which I didn't write in the video, and that's why I'm presenting you this short interruption. Because yes, in Switzerland the K7 does officially have 2200 watts of power output. However, in Germany and many other countries it has 3000 watts of power, so again much closer to what the P80 does. The reason Kärcher sells those different machines depending on where you live is that we as customers don't get confused, and that we as Swiss customers can buy the top of the line model, the K7, as in every other country there is. However, we have to be honest and clear about it. A Swiss K7 is much closer to a German K5 in its technical specifications, which also means that a German K7 would have been the fairer comparison partner to the AVA P80. However, I live in Switzerland and Andy bought the K7 here in Switzerland, so that's what we had to compare the AVA P80 to. But this will not change the rest of the video, the rest of this review, and especially not the conclusions at the end of this video, because the only test where this is relevant will be the one with the water bucket, which you will see in a few minutes. There the Kärcher K7 would have performed much better. However, as I said, this will not change anything regarding the conclusion at the end of this video. I wanted to do this short part and interruption to the main video in order to be honest to you, but let's now continue with the main video. However, the P80 is a pressure washer which needs a 15 ampere slow fuse. If you want a pressure washer that works with a normal, a regular, a standard fuse, then you would have to go for the P60 within the Master series. Then we of course have to talk about what you get when you buy those pressure washers. With the Kärcher, and as I said, especially when it comes to the premium ones, you get a hose reel that is installed on the back side of it. Then if you buy a full control, and I think you can have the K5 and K7 as a full control model, correct me if I'm wrong, you get this pistol here where you can adjust the pressure and you can adjust the amount of liquid that comes out if you attach such a bottle to the pressure washer. If you have a non-full control model, you have to adjust the pressure on the lance that comes with it. Because this lance is also special with the full control plus models. It's a 3-in-1, which means you have 3 functions there. You have the regular one, which just cleans the car, where you can't adjust the width of the water that comes out. It's just the pressure you can adjust. Then you have an additional function by just turning it there, which lets the chosen liquid out that you attached in there. And then you have the special one, which is the ground cleaner one with this rotational spin movement, where you can clean your ground or take off paint of your car if you want to do that. But that's what this 3-in-1 lance can do. Then if you decide to get a Kärcher which has home written on the box of it, you also get this ground cleaning unit with it. You also get this adapter here, which you can attach to the pistol and then the lance in order to make it longer. But what you don't get with Kärcher as standard is a foam lance, which is this one, the FJ6. You have to buy that separately, which is about 20 euros here in Germany. So that's what you get if you buy the Kärcher. And this is a difference to the AVA one, because the most important message here is you get more when you buy an AVA. And the single most important accessory for you English guys out there, because I know you love those things, is you get such a pistol with it as standard. And on this pistol you can attach the different nozzles you get with it, or you can attach the big lance on there. So you have a lot of choice there. So next to the pistol, which is stored within the pressure washer, you also get a foam lance with it, standard. As I said, you have to buy it separately with the Kärcher. And then you get several different nozzles. You get such a ground cleaning nozzle there. You get a 15-degree nozzle because, as I said before, you cannot adjust the pressure with the AVA. AVA works with different nozzles. And you also get a variable nozzle which you can adjust between 60 degrees, so that's quite a large throw from the water spray there, or 15 degrees, which has a more concentrated, more powerful throw there. You also get a detachable water filter which you can swap out if it is full or broken. With the AVA, there is a water filter within the Kärcher, so it's not something special. However, I personally think it's very intelligent that AVA put it on the outside of the pressure washer. Then, as I said, you get also the lance there, which is adjustable in length. The hose reel is standard with all the AVAs. You don't have to be careful which one you buy, as with the Kärcher, because you only get the hose reel there with the premium models. And that's what you get with the AVA. As I said, a bit more than you get with the Kärcher, especially in regards to the pistol and the foam lance. Both of these pressure washers come in boxes. However, it's the little things in life that count, at least for me. And with the AVA, it's a very nicely designed box, and there even is on the underside a small joke which hints you that you are about to open it on the wrong side. And those tiny little things are what separates the good from the excellent. Then we also have a look at the measurements of those two different pressure washers. In the depth, we have about 45 centimeters with the Kärcher and about 40 with the AVA. This is because the Kärcher, back there, the wheels stick a bit out, and with the AVA, they are integrated a bit more design-wise. However, if you detach the handle there, or the bar, then the AVA becomes a 50 centimeter of depth machine. Then regarding the width of the machines, the Kärcher is about 33 centimeters wide and the AVA 40, so this definitely is a wider machine. And with the integrated handles, the highest part of the Kärcher, which is the pistol, is about 75 centimeters. And with the AVA, it's the hose reel there, it's also about 75. If we detach the handle, the AVA is about 94 centimeters in height, and the Kärcher is pretty much exactly 1 meter in height. So in general, the Kärcher is a bit more compact. So if you are a mobile detailer and you don't have much space in your truck or in your van, then the Kärcher probably is the better choice for you. This especially holds true if we talk about the weight of those two different pressure washers. I have here a luggage scale, so we can quickly test for that. I will start with the Kärcher. It is about 20 kilos in weight. And now I'm not looking forward to this. The AVA, yeah, which is about 26 to 27 kilos. So the Kärcher definitely is the lighter machine. Then we have to talk about a few details and solutions I recognized while working with those. When it comes to storage solutions, Kärcher doesn't really have a lot of storage space because it doesn't need it, because they work with an intelligent 3-in-1 lance. The pistol is elegantly stored here. It also works if you have attached the lance to the pistol. You can still store it in there. However, there's not really much more space. The foam lance, if you buy the Kärcher one, suits in there because it has the same shape as those bottles which you can put in there. But that's really it. But as I said, that's not a bad thing because Kärcher just developed this thing in a way that they don't need storage space. On the other hand, the AVA needs it because they work with those different nozzles they have, and therefore they have on the back side this storage solution, and they use the adapter that they have also so that you can put the different nozzles in there, and you can attach up to 3 ones. With the lance, it's about the same. The lance is stored in there, and they fix it up there with the adapter again, so it doesn't fall out if you tilt it. It also is fixable if you have attached the pistol there. It also clicks in here, so it doesn't go anywhere. You can store the pistol itself in there. You can store the foam lance there. This one is the only solution I'm not a big fan of because, yes, it is somewhat stable if you haven't attached the foam lance head to it. If you do, however, it isn't really stable at all. It doesn't matter where you put it. It just needs a bit of force and it falls over. But those are the storage solutions that you have with the AVA. Both of the pressure washers have an adjustable handle. With the Kärcher, it really is just a transport solution because you grab it there, you pull it out, then you roll this thing around, and if you let it goes in there. So it's not fixable in the upward position. With the AVA, you see you have a button there. If you depress it, it goes up, and then it is fixed there. And now it gets very, very elegant because if you are working with your AVA, you can put the lance and the pistol up there because they have a handle there, because now this one doesn't work so elegantly anymore and you can't fix it. So this is the solution AVA thought of when you want to attach the pistol and the lance there, and you can roll it down again. But that's in general a feature that both of them have. They have an adjustable handle, and AVA on the back side also has an additional handle if you want to grab and transport your AVA somewhere. If you want to grab and carry the AVA up front, you can also do that. You can grab it here on this bar. You can also grab it down there, but it's a heavy piece. We will talk about that in a minute. But the Kärcher also has a handle there, and then you can carry it and put it in the car. So it's not that the Kärcher does not have any handle at all. Then, in order to prevent those pressure washers from falling, both manufacturers have a solution there. The AVA, and this is something that sets the Master series apart from the Smart series, has a bar there. You can push this button and then it goes out, and then it's a really, really stable platform. You see, it takes a lot of angle to make this one fall. With Kärcher, it is somewhat integrated in there. You have a plastic one there, but it does not take as much angle in order to make that fall, but we will test that in a minute. And then also the Master series from AVA has a metal handle here, which is also something that is different from the Smart series. Then we look at the hose reels. The Kärcher one is fixed. It does not move in any direction. And then the hose goes through there and you can push it there. With the AVA, it's a bit more flexible because you see, it follows you in the direction you are going to. Then you have a handle there which you can fix like this. You can pull it out and then you can pull it there, or you can, as I said, fix it and then it doesn't go anywhere. And it's the same with the vertical position. You can fix it by going there with the button. Now it's free. And now it's fixed. It has a much smaller angle of operation there. Now you can turn it as much as you want. And that really is a very good feature if you are running around your car and need a lot of space, because this one just is a tiny bit more flexible than this one. We go further into the details of those two pressure washers and look at the wheels. And this is hard to show you because it is a video, but I hope you can hear it. These really are just hard plastic wheels, and AVA has, I think you hear it, they have a softer kind of plastic. It's almost rubbery. They also, I think, have the nicer wheel design, and the wheels are bigger. They are 240 millimeters in diameter, 200 millimeters with the Kärcher, which is suitable because this is the bigger, larger and heavier machine. But this is also a difference between the two machines. Then we talk about one of, in my opinion, the nicest features of the AVA. AVA uses the same adapter mechanism that Kärcher uses. So this means that you can, for example, buy this pistol if you like it and attach the lance from Kärcher in there, so they are backwards compatible. Plus, and this is the much more important message here, the mechanism or the adapter is the same, but it works so much better and smoother. As you can see, I put the thing in there, turn it, and that's it. I can also then fix whatever I just attached there so it doesn't go anywhere, but the mechanism is so incredibly smooth compared to what Kärcher does, because with Kärcher, and most of you will know this, you have to put it in there, then apply some pressure and then tilt it. And this works fine with new Kärchers, but I have an old Kärcher K5 which has a lot of build up there, and as soon as they become older it becomes so much harder to have this pull motion there. And I actually broke a rather expensive foam lance exactly at this point because I had to pull it so hard in it, so I had to exchange this yellow part there. And this, in my opinion, definitely is a standout feature of AVA, that they were able to use the same adapter mechanism but improve on it in a very, very large and significant way. So as I just said, everything is backward compatible. You can also take the Kärcher pistol, and if you like, for example, the nozzles that AVA makes, you can also put them in there. Works. And you can also use, for example, the AVA Foam Lance if you like. That one also is backwards compatible. However, if you want to use this pistol, then you have to buy an adapter which AVA provides, because they use different clink mechanism for their water hoses. As you can see, it's not exactly the same, so you could not put this cable directly into this pistol. You need this adapter, which you just put on the AVA pistol. Yeah, that's there. Then you pull that one down, attach the hose to it, and now you can work with this pistol if you like. So as soon as you buy an accessory from AVA which is attached to a standard Kärcher hose, then you have to also buy this little adapter. Now, there's one additional thing I wanted to talk to you about. I admit it's a bit nerdy, but try to follow me. Every single button there is on the AVA feels rather, I would say, heavy, strong, and tactical almost. And I can show you this with the on and off switch from the Kärcher. It sounds hollow, it sounds a bit like there's sand in there. It's a 90-degree throw, and with the AVA, listen, it's a loud and audible click, and it's only 45 degrees. And the people of you who are into weapon systems will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's the same with every single button there is. They all feel very solid, they all feel heavy, they all feel tactical. Their lance almost looks like a handguard from an AR-15 rifle. So I don't know if this is an intentional feature of the AVA, but it all feels and looks and touches very tactile, very good, very positive. As you can see, I already placed the two lances and pistols that you get with the respective pressure washers next to each other. And you see, they are astonishingly similar. I would even say they are pretty much the same. However, there is now a big, fat and loud but in regards to the length of those pistols and lances. AVA once again offers you a bit more, and they offer you especially more in terms of flexibility. Because yes, if you buy the K7 or the K5 for that matter as the home set, then you get, in addition to the ground cleaning unit, you also get this attachment there, with which you can increase the overall length of the lance. For example, if you have to clean a lorry, greetings to you, Aman, and then you have a tiny bit more length to work with. However, AVA offers you this as standard, because as standard they come with their so-called zoom lance. You can depress there, twist, stretch it out, And then, as you can see, again, they are pretty much the same in overall length, but it doesn't stop there, because if you want to just use the pistol itself, you can't use it with the Kärcher, because, as you can see, it only has a quick detach system there. So the minimum length you have to use in order to work with the Kärcher is this, whereas you can use the AVA with the attached nozzle in this size as well. So this is a short gun. You can also attach the foam lance there. And so, as you can see, this is quite a significant size or length difference. Yes, you could go ahead and buy just the AVA nozzle and attach it to the Kärcher, which was a very intelligent move by AVA. But then again, you're working with an AVA attachment. So once again, as I said, AVA just offers you a tiny bit more. We now talk about one additional aspect which I think is very, very important, and it will lead to the conclusion at the end of this video as I will present it to you. And this is the respective hose attached to those different pressure washers. I put my old trusty K5 up there, which I have to tell you worked perfectly fine during the last couple of years. It just recently started to develop some strange faults. However, what absolutely drove me mad was the hose that is attached to there. Now with the K7, as I said, if you buy a premium model from Kärcher, you get a hose reel which solves a lot of the issues I will just talk about. However, you see that the hose itself is not of the highest quality, and more importantly, if you attach the hose to the pistol, it is not free spinning. So if this hose starts to get old and starts to develop circles there, you always have to work with the pistol and spin it in the respective direction in order to have a properly stored hose back there. When you have a Kärcher without such a hose reel back there, you will know the pain I will just talk about. These cables tend to roll themselves up, and it gets an absolute pain in the ass to work with them, because yes, you can use them, they will straighten up, however, they will not perfectly straighten up and they will stay in those circles. And if you're not aligning them properly when you want to store the Kärcher, then, yeah, as you can see, yeah, it's horrible. It drove me absolutely mad and crazy during the last couple of years. And that's one major, major difference with the AVAs, because the AVAs come with a higher quality hose itself. It is steel reinforced. And more importantly, and this is an additional detail where you see how much thought and effort AVA put into developing those pressure washers, if you attach it to the pistol, it is free spinning. So it means even if this hose, I highly doubt it, will start to roll up over time, you can still spin this and therefore use it properly. And every single AVA comes with such a hose reel. So once again, a big, big difference in terms of the overall quality and the attention to detail that you get when you buy such an AVA. So we changed our location into our wash hall. We prepared both of those high pressure washers, and you can now follow us when we use and test them in the field, when we use them on the car. We now prepared the bottle with the cleaner tank there with Sonax Rich Foam in its pure variant. Andy already put the 3-in-1 lance on the cleaner setting. He has adjusted it to full strength, and now we'll see if there comes foam out of it. As you can see, there definitely is something coming out of it. However, it's not foam, because foam lances work in a bit of a different manner than such a system. However, it is a good system if you, for example, want to put a pre-cleaner, traffic film remover, a citrus pre-wash through it, then this would actually work quite nice. So we now prepared the Kärcher FJ6 foam lance. As I said, it's not a standard thing that you get with the Kärcher. You have to buy it separately. We prepared it with 500 milliliters of water and 25 milliliters of Sonax Active Foam, which is a very highly concentrated foam. It normally is more than enough to put this amount of foam in it, but we now will attach it to the Kärcher and see what it can do. As you can see, way too thin, too watery. The foam does not really foam up nicely. It is not sticking to the paint. It is running off way too fast, which is something we know from the FJ6, but we wanted to show it to you nonetheless, because now we can compare it to the AVA. So we also prepared the AVA Foam Lance with 500 milliliters of water and 25 milliliters of the Sonax Active Foam. One very, very nice touch and detail you have on the AVA Foam Lance. You see here how much foam you will get, and you see that, wait, I have to, yeah. You see it with a smiley for, yeah, nice foam. And then if you pull it all the way up, you have such a smiley for, holy shit, that's a lot of foam. So we will do it exactly the same as with the Kärcher, which is full power foam, and we will now see how this foam lance compares. Immer noch. Ich tue es jetzt ganz sauber. Ja, jetzt ist es. Genau. So, as you can see, I think this result is very, very clear and obvious. Much, much thicker foam, and because it is thicker, it now lies perfectly on the paint, is thick and has a lot of time to cling and to do its work. We also played around a bit with the foam lance, and you can adjust it to much less foam, because one large disadvantage is it empties itself in a very, very short amount of time if you go with it full strength. So I recommend to you that you turn it down. However, you can do so because the foam stays very, very thick and fine. So for a standard foam lance that comes with the pressure washer, I personally think this is fantastic, and I also don't think that you need another one or buy another one, because this one works really, really well. The gun you get with the AVA is called a zero force gun, and there is a particular reason for it. The trigger you see here is yellow, and then you have a small black part there, and the reason is if you depress the trigger you would need quite a lot of force to keep it that way, to keep it back. If you put 1 or 2 fingers there, there is some sort of a clutch system back there which makes it a lot easier to stay on the trigger because you need less force there. Andy, which is my trusty assistant, will now show it to you. Yeah, and one tip in this regard, if you have your finger on the black part and then just let it go, you see it comes backwards with a lot of pressure and a audible click. So if you want to put the trigger back into its original position a bit less, I would say, loud, then I would suggest you take the yellow part again, and he shows it to you. Yeah. But once again, a tiny but important feature which makes working with the AVA just a little bit more special. One aspect in which they are both the same is that both lances can only spray in the horizontal direction. However, AVA sells you this additional adapter, once again very tactical with this Picatinny up there. This one is an adapter with which you can adapt the angle with which the water comes out, and all you need to do is put it between the lance and the nozzle, and again it's backward compatible with your Kärcher, so you can also use it on the Kärcher. And you will now put it on the AVA gun and show you how it works. Good. In order to test the water output of those pressure washers, we prepared the following little test. I have here a 15-liter wash bucket. We filled it with 12 centimeters of water. We already prepared it with less water, but that was quite a mess. I will show you the pictures now. It was actually quite funny. But we will start with this amount of water in order to prevent that the pressure of the pressure washers just makes the water squirt out everywhere. And this test in theory will show which pressure washer puts out more water, because the one which puts out more water will fill it quicker. So we will now do this test with the AVA and the Kärcher, and we will start with the Kärcher. Andi, bereit? 3, 2, 1, start! As you saw, we cannot fill the bucket quite up to the lid there because there's just too much water flow in there, so the water spills out. But we now had about 1 minute and 13 seconds with the Kärcher K7, and we will now try the same thing with the AVA. 3, 2, 1, start! I would say this is a very, very clear result, because not only theoretically does the AVA put out more water, it also did fill the tiny little bucket we have there about 30 seconds quicker than the Kärcher K7 did, which I think, considering that there are only 15 liters of water in there, is a rather impressive result. One additional thing we will now have a look at is if one of those high pressure washers is louder or more silent than the other. We now gave the hoses their full length that they have, and now we can compare if both of them really have the 10 meters that the manufacturers tell you. And yeah, I would say this is pretty close. We can stretch the Kärcher one a little bit. And this is only the difference between the hose reel positioning, because with the AVA it is up front, with the Kärcher it is back there, but both of them have their 10 meters of hose. We will now also test how stable these pressure washers stand. Andy is already putting his foot there. I will now tuck. Yeah, and we will see how much. Oh, I need a lot of force, I can tell you. Now it falls. And now we will do the same thing with the Kärcher. Yeah, you see what happens now, it tilts. Yeah, now I need a lot less force to make it fall. However, you saw when you pull it, it goes to the side. Maybe this is an intentional design feature to make it fall with less probability. But in general, I would say the AVA is the more stable machine thanks to the bar that you have there, and also to the simple fact that it is the heavier machine and has a lot of weight down there. Then we look at one additional detail. It's a tiny detail, but we want to show you these things as well. When you want to grab and transport them, you have to use the handles, which both have, because if you don't put them out, it's very uncomfortable. Same with the AVA. As you see, I have to pull down my shoulder a lot, but when I detach the handle, then it's rather comfortable with the AVA. However, we already showed you this with the measurements. The Kärcher is 5 centimeters higher, which means my shoulder is now perfectly in line with my body, and this is a tiny bit more comfortable with the Kärcher. And then there is one design difference between the two. With the Kärcher, I can't just pick it up and start. I have to put my foot there, tilt it, and then I can drag it. With the AVA, it just falls, and now I can take it. So you could say, very well done, Kärcher, for thinking about this footstep here, so I can tilt it. Or I could say, very well done, AVA, for putting the wheels a bit more forward, so it just tilts. It just depends what you want at the end of the day. One additional aspect, we already talked about the different wheels, because we are now on this special floor and you can hear what we were talking about. I'll start with the Kärcher. Yeah, I think you can hear it. And now with the AVA. So another tiny but maybe important difference for you. So we now come to the conclusion of this video. And at the end of the day, I have to tell you, both of those high pressure washers are really, really good, high quality products. And if you just go outside and use them to wash your car, there are hardly any differences, because both have about the same performance, the same power, and work pretty much the same way. They both have hose reels, they both have telescopic handles, they both have a 10-meter hose, and with both of those brands you get a lot of accessories you can buy. However, the AVA P80 is the better machine in every single aspect and especially detail I tested and just showed you. And in this respect, you can really feel the history of AVA, which is rather interesting. The persons who are today behind AVA were the biggest importer and reseller of Kärcher pressure washers in Norway. So they worked for years with those machines and they worked closely with their customers. And based on the feedback and the criticism of their customers, they realized that there was room for improvement, which Kärcher was obviously not really interested to follow. So AVA went ahead and asked their customers, what is it that you like and don't like about those Kärcher machines, and what could be improved? And this is when they decided that they will go ahead and produce their own pressure washers. And this extremely close relationship to customers and to people like us who use those machines, you can feel in every single detail of those machines. And I think the two most obvious aspects which show that are that you get as standard a foam lance that not just works like the one you can buy from Kärcher, but it works in a very good way. It creates really thick foam that can work on your car. And you get this thing which is very popular amongst you English-speaking guys because you just want and love those short trigger guns. And you get it as standard with most of those machines from AVA. And the attention to detail, which I just love about those machines, doesn't stop there. For example, the design element of those honeycomb structures there is consequently used throughout the whole machine and even in areas which you don't see on a daily basis, like the handle back there, on the pistol, on the foam lance, and on every single nozzle attachment and accessory that AVA makes. And that just shows you how far they go with the attention to detail they have. Then I already talked to you about how every single button on the AVA feels very high quality, very heavy, very tactile. And this is something again that you don't get with the Kärcher. If you buy accessories from AVA, like for example nozzles and accessories, they come attached to a small black plastic card in which you can place all the nozzles in the same way that you can place them at the back of the pressure washer themselves. So once again, AVA thinks of us customers and how we can properly store and arrange all those different accessories. And I'm also talking about something like the smileys you have there on the foam lance. But it's not just those details which are probably irrelevant for most of you guys, it's also the solutions and the details which matter. Like that the water filter is placed outside and you can quickly just change or detach it and you do not have to screw your high pressure washer apart like with the Kärcher, or you even have to send it to Kärcher in order for the water filter to be changed. Like the fact that every AVA comes with a hose reel and you don't have to buy the premium version with the Kärcher because the other ones don't come with it. The fact that the hose reel is movable and you can fix it there. The fact that you can store away the handle there, or you can fix the hose reel so it does not come out, or you can just unfix it. The fact that the hose itself is of higher quality and steel reinforced. The fact, as I showed you, that the pistol you get there spins freely when you attach it to the hose. The fact that you can place the lance when you work with it up there so it is properly stored. The fact that the wheels come with a softer plastic, almost rubberized, they are bigger, that the machine is more stable and doesn't fall over so quick, especially because it is heavier, because it has a metal engine in there. The fact that AVA did not just give us such a pistol, but they also thought about, with this zero force movement there, how you can use it for a longer time and don't get fatigue in your hands. The fact that the lance is adjustable in length, and the fact that you get more and cooler accessories which are made for us car guys. It's not like the AVA will be the better machine for everybody, because as we saw, the Kärcher is a bit more compact, it's lighter, so it's easier to store. It produces slightly more pressure. It comes with an electronically adjustable lance in terms of the pressure and the amount of liquid you want to produce there. You have a liquid tank where you can put like pre-washes in there, and you have a very, very intelligent 3-in-1 lance, which just means there are less accessories, which leads to the Kärcher being the more compact machine. And let's not forget, you cannot adjust the pressure with the AVA. However, is that really relevant for you? I myself am using the highest pressure setting pretty much all the time, because with those kind of pressures, you will never run the risk of damaging your paint. I don't think that the difference of 20 bars in pressure is really relevant. And AVA just works with a different setup. They work with different nozzles that create a different angle of spray pattern, because with the Kärcher, the spray angle is always the same. And AVA gives you the choice of just work with different spray patterns in order to decrease the pressure that is on a single spot on your car's paint. So it's just a different setup, and you have to decide which one of those systems you want to go with. Plus, you can always buy just the accessories of AVA and put them on your Kärcher if the adjustability of pressure really is an issue for you. And this, in my opinion, was by far the smartest move that AVA made, because based on the feedback that they got from their customers, they probably found out that the Kärcher adapter is a good idea, especially because there are so many different accessories out there that don't come from Kärcher, like for example foam lenses that people like to use. However, they did not just go ahead and used the same mechanism, they even tried to improve the mechanism itself, and they really did, because this spin movement, and then you can fix it, is so much quicker, so much more comfortable than this press and then spin movement with the Kärcher. It works fine with this pretty new and rarely used K7. However, with my K5, I already told you that the mechanism has become rather hard, and I already destroyed a rather expensive foam lens because of that system. So once again, the conclusion of this video is both of them are extremely good, very high quality machines, and you would not go wrong by buying either of those. However, regarding every single detail I tested and showed you, the AVA is a tiny little bit better. So it's not like this is a revolution of high pressure washers, but it's definitely an evolution of what Kärcher already offers. And this is also the reason why this video has become so long, because I just wanted to show you every single one of those tiny little details, because all those tiny little details at the end add up to something rather special, which I think the AVA pressure washer is. And I think one aspect that symbolizes this is, for example, the engine. AVA uses 4-cylinder metal engines in there. And when we compared the loudness of those pressure washers, because at the back they both stayed 94 decibels of noise, you could hear that there is a slight difference. The AVA sounds a bit deeper and it's more like a rumble, whereas the Kärcher had a more high-pitched, more rattly sound to it. And this is probably the reason why everyone who visited me and also tested the AVA said they felt that this is a bit more silent because of those deeper tones. I always told them that this sounds more like a deep, like a rumbly V8, whereas this one sounds more like a badly tuned BMW M4 with a catless downpipe in it, so a bit more rattly and not quite as pleasant as this one. So I avoided it for long enough. Let's talk about prices. And this one will be a bit tricky because there is a difference between RRPs and what you actually have to pay for those pressure washers on the market. Because if we just compare RRPs, and in Central Europe, the Kärcher K7 costs about 530 euros. The AVA costs about 540 euros. However, if you add the costs of the basic foam lens the Kärcher offers, they are pretty much the same. So at those prices, I definitely have to tell you that with the AVA, you get more accessories, you get the better functioning accessories, you get the better looking machine, you get higher quality single... You get higher quality single components like the hose, and for that reason I would definitely always decide to go with the AVA. However, the RRP is probably not what you have to pay for the Kärchers, because you can buy them pretty much all year round without any special discounts for way less, and this is about 400 to 450 euros. That opens up a gap of 100 to 150 euros. And at this difference, I have to tell you that you, at the end of the day, have to decide if you want to invest in the AVA, which, as I said, gets you more accessories, is the slightly higher quality, better looking, better functioning machine. But I completely understand if you would go for the Kärcher based on price. However, we from XaronFR are working closely with AVA to come up with a unique community discount, and maybe you already find one in the description of this video below, so have a look there. Twink twink. So what's the overall conclusion? At the start of this video, I said that it is very dangerous for a market-leading company to be in this position because you tend to get lazy. And this is, I think, exactly what happened there, because as I just showed you, the AVA offers more in every single detail, more in terms of accessories, more in terms of quality, more in terms of the single components, more in terms of the performance, and it's just overall the better machine. As I said, it's not a revolution, but an evolution on a already fantastic machine. And that's why I personally would always choose to go with the AVA. Full disclosure at this point, AVA sent me this machine along with some others to test them. I borrowed this machine from a community member, so I did not have to pay for any of those machines. But the only condition when AVA sent me this machine was that I had to show it to you in a video. AVA literally said, please review this product as critical as you can, compare it to other machines which are on the market, and if the product is shit, you can tell it in a video. So I think this shows the confidence that AVA and the guys behind this brand have in those machines. And I also think this whole video review was comprehensive enough in order for you to see that it really was an objective test of those pressure washers. Maybe in the future we will also compare the AVA to offerings of Nilfisk, of Bosch or Kränzli, but right now I think I want to end this video. If you liked it, leave us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!